shadows over Salem, whispers of witchcraft poison the air. The very mention of witchcraft sends shivers down the spines of the villagers. It is a time when the unknown is feared, and the unseen is dreaded. The air is thick with tension and every whisper carries the weight of suspicion. The year is 1692, a year that will be etched in the annals of history for the events that are about to unfold. A year that will see the small village of Salem become the epicenter of a storm of hysteria and fear. A cold wind howls through Salem, Massachusetts. The chill in the air is not just from the winter's bite, but from the growing unease that grips the village. The wind seems to carry with it the whispers of the past, the fears of the present, and the uncertainties of the future. But a different kind of chill grips the hearts of its people. It is a chill born of fear, of suspicion, of the unknown. The villagers huddle together, seeking comfort in numbers but finding little solace in the face of the growing dread. Fear, suspicion, it hangs heavy in the air, as thick as the fog that rolls in from the sea. The fog obscures the truth, making it difficult to see clearly, to think rationally. It is a time of uncertainty, of doubt, of fear. A darkness is spreading over Salem, a darkness born of whispers and rumors. It is a darkness that feeds on fear, that grows stronger with each passing day. The villagers can feel it, a palpable sense of dread that hangs over the village like a shroud. Whispers of strange afflictions, of fits and seizures that grip the town's young women. These afflictions are unlike anything the villagers have seen before, and they are at a loss to explain them. The young women are tormented by these fits, their bodies racked with pain, their minds consumed by fear. Fits that defy explanation, that twist their bodies and contort their words. The villagers watch in horror as the young women are overtaken by these fits. Their bodies contorted in unnatural ways, their words twisted and incoherent. It is a sight that fills them with fear and dread. The villagers, devout and God-fearing, search for answers in their faith. They gather in the church, praying for deliverance, for protection, for answers. They look to their faith for guidance, for comfort, for hope. They see the devil's hand at work, his evil influence corrupting their souls. The villagers are convinced that the devil is behind the strange afflictions, that he is working to corrupt their souls, to lead them astray. They see his hand in every shadow, his influence in every whisper. The word witchcraft begins to circulate, whispered at first, then spoken aloud. It is a word that carries with it a weight of fear, of suspicion, of dread. The villagers begin to speak of witchcraft, to accuse their neighbors, to look for signs of the devil's influence. It takes root in the fertile ground of fear, growing like a weed, choking out reason and logic. The fear of witchcraft spreads through the village, taking root in the hearts and minds of the villagers. It grows stronger with each passing day, choking out reason and logic, leaving only fear and suspicion in its wake. Neighbors eye each other with suspicion. Old grudges resurface, and the social fabric of Salem begins to unravel. The fear of witchcraft drives a wedge between the villagers, turning neighbor against neighbor, friend against friend. Old grudges resurface and the social fabric of Salem begins to unravel. The very air seems to crackle with fear. The fear is palpable, a living, breathing thing that seems to fill the air, to crackle in the firelight, to lurk in the shadows. It is a fear that consumes the villagers, that drives them to desperate measures. Every shadow conceals a potential threat. The villagers see danger in every shadow, a threat in every corner. They are consumed by fear, by suspicion, by the belief that the devil is among them, that he is working to corrupt their souls. Every strange occurrence, every unexplained illness, fuels the growing paranoia. The villagers see signs of the devil's influence in every strange occurrence, in every unexplained illness. The paranoia grows stronger with each passing day, feeding on the fear and suspicion that grips the village. The devil, they believe, walks among them, disguised in human form. The villagers are convinced that the devil is among them, that he is walking in their midst, disguised in human form. They see his hand in every shadow, his influence in every whisper. But who will be his next victim? The villagers live in fear, wondering who will be the next to fall victim to the devil's influence. They look at each other with suspicion, with fear, with dread. And who will dare to stand against the encroaching darkness? The villagers are faced with a choice, to give in to the fear, to the suspicion, to the hysteria, or to stand against it, to fight for reason, for logic, for truth. The seeds of hysteria have been sown, and soon, Salem will reap a bitter harvest. The fear, the suspicion, the hysteria that has taken root in Salem will soon come to a head, and the village will reap the bitter harvest of its fear and paranoia. The accused and the accuser's fear becomes the ultimate weapon. The finger of accusation first points to Tituba, a slave woman, whose exotic background and unfamiliar customs make her an easy target for the fearful and superstitious townsfolk. Her very presence, shrouded in mystery and difference, becomes a convenient scapegoat for the unexplained and the terrifying. her exotic background making her an easy target. The whispers and rumors about her practices and origins quickly spiral out of control, painting her as a malevolent force in their midst. Then come Sarah Good and Sarah Osborne, two women living on the fringes of society, their reputations already tarnished. Sarah Good, a homeless beggar, and Sarah Osborne, a woman who defied societal norms by living with a man out of wedlock, are easy prey for the hysteria that grips the village. The accusations spread like wildfire, fueled by fear and personal vendettas. Neighbors turn against neighbors, old grudges resurface, and the line between truth and falsehood blurs in the frenzy. The accusers, a group of young girls known as the afflicted girls, become the center of attention. Their sudden fits and convulsions, their cries of pain and terror, captivate the community and lend credence to their claims of witchcraft. Their fits and screams are terrifying to behold. The sight of these young girls, writhing and contorting as if possessed, strikes fear into the hearts of all who witness it. They claim to see the specters of their tormentors, invisible to all but them. These ghostly apparitions, they insist, are the very witches who seek to harm them, and their accusations are taken as gospel. With each accusation their power grows, their words carrying the weight of life and death. The community, gripped by fear, hangs on their every word, and the accused find themselves powerless against the tide of hysteria. Among the accused are men and women of all ages and social standings. No one is immune to the suspicion that pervades the village, and the net of fear tightens around everyone. Rebecca Nurse, a respected elderly woman, known for her piety. Her arrest sends shockwaves through the community, as even the most devout and upstanding citizens are not spared from the madness. George Burroughs, a former Salem minister, his sermons now twisted into evidence of his supposed pact with the devil. His eloquence and influence, once admired, now serve as damning proof of his alleged dark powers. John Proctor, a farmer, a man of strong will and conviction, who dares to question the accuser's motives. His skepticism and defiance make him a target, and his courage in the face of overwhelming odds becomes a beacon of resistance. Fear becomes the ultimate weapon, wielded by both the accusers and those who believe them. It spreads like a contagion, infecting the minds and hearts of the villagers, turning them against one another. No one is safe. No one is above suspicion. The paranoia seeps into every corner of the community, and trust becomes a rare and precious commodity. The very foundations of justice crumble under the weight of paranoia and delusion. The courts, meant to be bastions of truth and fairness, become arenas of fear and retribution. The Salem Witch Trials have begun, and the devil, it seems, has found his willing executioners. The stage is set for one of the darkest chapters in American history, where fear and superstition reign supreme. The trial's hysteria reigns supreme in Salem's courtroom. The meeting house, usually a place of worship, transforms into a courtroom, a place where justice is supposed to be served. But in Salem, justice takes a back seat to fear and superstition. Its wooden beams echoing with accusations and denials, the very structure seems to groan under the weight of the hysteria. The trials are a spectacle, drawing crowds eager to witness the drama unfold. People from all walks of life gather, their faces a mix of curiosity, fear, and morbid fascination. The air crackles with tension, fear palpable in every hushed whisper and gasp of horror. The atmosphere is thick with anticipation, as if the very air is charged with electricity. The accusers become the stars of this macabre show, their every word, every shriek and convulsion taken as evidence. They hold the power to sway the crowd and the court with their dramatic performances, their every word, every shriek and convulsion taken as evidence. The more dramatic their display, the more convincing their accusations seem to the frenzied onlookers. They claim to be pinched, pricked, and tormented by the invisible specters of the accused. These invisible torments are taken as undeniable proof of the accused's guilt. Their performances are convincing, their cries of agony tearing at the hearts of the onlookers. The crowd is moved, not by reason, but by the raw emotion on display. The accused, often imprisoned in horrific conditions, stand little chance against the tide of hysteria. They are already judged guilty in the eyes of the public, their fate seemingly sealed. They are subjected to humiliating physical examinations, searching for witches' marks, any blemish or unusual physical trait that could mark them as servants of the devil. These examinations are invasive and degrading, stripping the accused of their dignity. Any blemish or unusual physical trait that could mark them as servants of the devil. Even the most innocent of marks can be twisted into evidence of dark dealings. Their pleas of innocence fall on deaf ears, drowned out by the cacophony of fear and religious fervor. The louder they proclaim their innocence, the more the crowd seems to believe in their guilt. The judges, men of the cloth and law, struggle to maintain control over the chaotic proceedings. They are torn between their duty to uphold justice and their own fears of the supernatural. Bound by the beliefs of their time, they see the devil's hand in every accusation, every strange affliction. Their judgments are clouded by the pervasive fear of witchcraft. Reason and logic are abandoned, replaced by superstition and fear. Decisions are driven not by evidence, but by the overwhelming need to root out perceived evil. The courtroom becomes a stage for a terrifying play, where the lines between reality and delusion blur. The actors are not just the accusers and the accused, but everyone present, caught up in the hysteria. Where the lines between reality and delusion blur, and the innocent are condemned by the very act of accusation. In this tragic theater, reason is the first casualty, and justice is nowhere to be found.